Nikki Haley stole the show last night at the Al Smith dinner in New York, poking fun at politicians on both sides of the political aisle and even her own boss in her keynote speech that demanded attention before she even got to the mic.
It is my pleasure to introduce the next president of the United States, Nikki Haley.
I so can't believe you did that. The president called me this morning and gave me some really good advice. He said, if I get stuck for laughs, just brag about his accomplishments. It really killed at the UN, I gotta tell you. I get it. You wanted an Indian woman, but Elizabeth Warren failed her DNA test. Actually, when the president found out that I was Indian American, he asked me if I was from the same tribe as Elizabeth Warren.
Ladies night, folks. Lisa Booth, Danielle McLaughlin, and Caroline Felici, welcome to all of you. She looked amazing, first of all, and she's a superstar. There's no doubt about it, Lisa.
Well, I'm a huge Nikki Haley fangirl. Nikki Haley for president in 2024. But no, I think she's awesome. I mean, look, she was a former governor, UN ambassador currently. I mean, she's got such credibility. I think she'd be an amazing potential presidential candidate. Also, I found the joke about Elizabeth Warren hilarious because it's true. Obviously, Elizabeth Warren exposed herself as a huge fraud recently, and so I thought the joke was perfectly timed and hilarious.
Well, the whole thing at this dinner, I've been to it several times, is to, sort of walk that line of sort of jabbing a little bit. You can maybe jab at the president a little bit and have some fun with everybody. What do you think, Daniel?
No, and I think the dinner was a little bit like her time at the UN. She's walked that line. Yeah. She's been able to distance herself from Trump on Russia, for example, but then she's really been in lockstep in some of his America First policies. So I agree with you, Lisa. I mean, I might say 2020. Clearly, she's not going to say anything about that now, but would she primary the president? We'll see.
Yeah. Let's settle in 2024.
It's far enough away, so we will see. Caroline, what do you think?
Yeah, look, everybody loves Nikki Haley, and this is why. I mean, everybody loves somebody that can poke fun at themselves and others. This is kind of like what the White House Correspondents' Dinner should have been. Yeah. A little bit, tongue-in-cheek and not over the line. Exactly. Everybody can laugh. It's important for us as a country to laugh at ourselves, so I loved it. I thought she did great.
I always say there's such an art to doing this kind of dinner, and when you do it well, it's hilarious. I've seen President Obama do it very well. President Bush do it very well. I have to say President Trump at this dinner during the campaign, it didn't work out that well. So there's a real art to it. So speaking of art and movies, a lot of attention this week to those Disney princess characters because a couple of celebrities have said that they don't think that they set the best example for their children. Here's Kristen Bell talking about this. She says, "Don't you think that it's weird?" In Snow White, she's talking about, that the prince kisses Snow White without her permission because you cannot kiss someone if they're sleeping. This is what she says to her girls. Lisa.
Well, look, I would say the princess or Snow White would still be asleep if she was never kissed. So there's that.
True.
Factual.
She would have slept forever.
Also, my dad told me princess stories every single night before I went to sleep when I was younger. It was strangely all different versions of Disney movies that he kind of came up with on his own.
You thought he was just a fantastic
Yeah, but I turned out to be a strong and independent woman as a result, despite being told Disney stories, because my parents always told me I could do whatever I wanted when I grew up. So look, she has the right to, parent however she would like as a mom. But I do think it's kind of silly.
And your favorite Disney character is
Belle because she's a strong and independent woman. Yeah. She wanted to leave her village. She had higher ambitions and hopes. She went to save her dad, so she is a strong and independent. She loves her dad. Also, she didn't Gaston, or what is his name? I'm forgetting
Gaston.
Gaston.
No, but
she didn't like him.
Right. She didn't like Gaston because he's a big. He's a blowhard.
And he was hot, but she knew that he was a bad guy. And instead, she was able to see through the beastie veneer of the beast and see what was on the inside.
And Belle also, she and the beast, they gain a relationship of friendship.
Yes.
And then they fall in love.
There was substance.
Danielle, what's your favorite?
I totally agree.
You like Cinderella.
I liked because I'm going to date myself here, but there were no great Disney princesses. We were all sort of harkening back to the 50s. I wish that I'd grown up in the time of Moana, who was from the South Pacific, which is where I'm from. This very adventurous girl who goes out to save her island, steeped in the folklore of the things that I grew up with. So I love her. The point I would make about this is it's important to have these cultural references. Snow White was written in 1812. Like, women were basically property at that time. Certainly no woman around the world had the vote. So parental guidance is really important, and we should have these critical discussions about what these pieces of culture mean for girls.
Yeah, I just think there's too many princesses now. Like every 6 weeks, it feels like there's another, Frozen. They've got like 1 million of them coming out, and I think that they were kind of special. I also think that we've sort of overdone the princess thing with little girls.
Right.
It's like everyone's a princess. Everyone wears a tiara. It's like Halloween is one day a year, but the rest of the year, you're a kid. What do you think about all this?
Well, I will say that I have a 7-year-old daughter. She's in 2nd grade, so having to relive these stories through her, it definitely gets the wheels turning.
Right.
I loved Kristen Bell. She obviously was Elsa in that's taken everybody by storm. And I love in that movie, the overarching message of love was between two women, right? It was a sisterly bond.
Right,
There was sort of, there were narratives of a love story throughout with men, of course, but I think Disney saw the writing on the wall that, this whole, do anything you can to catch a man wasn't going to cut it, and so they're evolving with the time.
All right. So before I let you go, when you look at this headline from, I think this is the Wall Street Journal. You want 20% for handing me a muffin? The awkward etiquette of iPad tipping. And I just have noticed this recently as well. You just you get like a cup of coffee, and then they turn it around and go, ha ha. Are you going to give me 15, 20%?
Well, and I'm their target audience because I'm such a sucker. Because I don't believe if people are working hard and they provide good customer service and they deserve a tip, and so I am probably their target audience because I am guilted easily into giving a tip because I think everyone deserves.
So you hit 10, 15, 20?
I'm typically a 20% person.
You do too?
No, I
Sometimes
do
30.
too. And
Do you feel guilted into it though?
A little bit, and I think about this should really be about reward. So I was a waitress in college and high school and grad school. I slogged my guts out running between tables.
For 20%.
Right, I'm not sure they're taking something out of a glass case and handing it to me, but I still pay it. So honestly, the cafe owners are the ones that are really doing bad because they're not paying.
I'm going with Emily Post on this one. You do not need to tip on something like this. That is, she is the final word, and if they're not providing real service, you don't need to tip.
I consider myself a very good tipper. I too was a waitress for 8 years, so I understand this. But come on, handing it over the counter.
I'm the sucker, I guess.
I'm gonna make sure you come to my checkout counter. All right, that is the story on this Friday night. Have a great weekend, everyone.